So welcome back everybody, my name's Andrew and you're watching the Kelley's Country Life. Excuse the background noise, we have some subcontractors here working on the house, but today is all about this wood right here. Alright, so I put out a community tab last week and a picture of this lumber right here and asked y'all to guess what you thought this was and what do you think I'm gonna do with it. And a lot of people responded. Shockingly, not many people got it. As of right now, only one person knows exactly what this is. So what you were looking at is not an old rotten pile of wood, as some people stated. Hey, are you making mulch with that? There's more here than meets the eye. This is actually a very special load of wood. So what you can see is as this has sat out in the sun the last few days, that golden sap that's starting to come out of this wood right here. Look right there. So a lot of people thought this was cypress or cedar. That is just not the case at all. This is a very special type of wood that we find a lot down here in the south. Now I'm sure it's across the country and other places, but it's very prevalent down here. So what you're looking at is called southern fatwood or fatwood lightered knot. It's got a lot of different names, and this is the actual heart of a dead pine tree. So when a pine tree dies, down here all that sap and resin is pulled to the center and usually just down to the stump where it hardens up and is just full of resins, turpentines, things like that, and it burns extremely well. And because this lumber pulls all that sap and resin to it, gets very hard, it's quite rot resistant and bug resistant too. Now what you're looking at is some of the outside is rotting and flaking off. That will continue to happen as the resins slowly leave the outside and everything is still pulled more toward the center. But this lumber or this wood is a lot more solid than you give it credit for. So the reason this wood is so special, it is very hard to find straight poles like this in lightered. Typically what you find is an old lightered stump sticking up out in the woods around pond edges, all across clear cuts, things like that, and people dig them up because this stuff burns extremely well. A lot of people call it magic wood and start their fires with it. That resin, it just burns extremely well. I'll show some of that a little later in the video. This is how we start a lot of our fires. You take one piece about that big right there, stick it in the center of a fire, even if it has relatively green wood, this burns so hot and burns long enough that it will ignite that fire and get it going. So my plan for this as I go through it, I'm probably going to section it up in small 8 to 10 pieces, bust it in chunks about that size, and I probably have firewood kindling or firewood starter right here for the rest of my life out of this pile that you see. Now there are some very solid pieces like this that I may pull out of this stack and use for fence posts. A couple people guessed that as well. Again, this stuff hardly ever wants to rot, and the ground and moisture doesn't do a whole lot to it. You can go pull old stumps out of the ground that's surrounded by water all near pond edges, and they'll be so solid on the inside. I've actually got one that I dug off of our place back there that I'll show you. Now the reason I don't like going and digging the stumps is, one, it takes time. A lot of times they're in locations it's very hard to get to, say with a tractor, and two, when you pull them out, they're covered in so much dirt and mud, it takes forever to get them clean before you cut them with your chainsaw. Otherwise you just dull your chain. You don't have that problem here. This has been out for quite a long time, has been rained on, been cleaned off, and is ready to go. Now check that out. As rotten as this wood looks on the outside, that is solid resin on the inside. Not a bit of rot inside this wood at all. And here's the thing. Oh my goodness. One of the best smells on the planet right here. I absolutely love the way this stuff smells. It's full of turpentines and just all kinds of other things that just gives it such a unique kind of just woody country smell. We're going to take this back up to the splitter, and I'm going to show you how to prepare this for our fires. But first, why did I just keep all that sawdust? So I put these bags down for a reason. So there you are, all that beautiful sawdust. That is all that chipped up resin out of that ladder knotwood. And the smell that is coming out of that bucket is insane. So here's what's so cool, that one little piece, look at these huge chunks I got out of there. That is actually bigger than I even need to start a relatively large fire. You stack a few pieces of wood on top of this, once you get this going, which does not take much, this will burn for a while and will ignite anything you put above it. So there's one fire, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I could bust those up even more. So I can get 6 fires going, probably 10 if I split that down a little further with one little chunk. So now you can see how I can say that'll probably last me my lifetime. If I keep that wood stored up off the ground the way that I have it, it just will not rot sitting in the air like that. And if it does, it will take my lifetime for the rest of that stuff to rot away the way that I have it stored right now. Now, a lot of people are familiar with this wood in the form of little kindling sticks. Y'all might have seen this. Some of the bigger box stores actually sell this, but that's all that it is. It is this fat wood lighter that's been split down to stuff this size. All it takes is a couple little kindling sticks this big to light a fire in a stove, a fireplace, whatever that may be. Now, the only drawback to lighter knotwood is because of all these thick resins in there, it does put off a lot of creosote and a lot of black smoke. But pieces this small will burn up so quick, I can't foresee that ever causing you a problem. But this is an excellent fire starter. And this is something I may consider doing with all that wood. Taking the time to split down into a bunch of little kindling sticks like this. You sell it in a bundle and you get relatively good money, but it's a lot of work to do that. And whenever you want to split up stuff this size, you typically do that with an axe. I wouldn't sit out there and do it with my log splitter like you just seen me do. All right, I had to get inside out of the wind. But just to show you how flammable this stuff is, we'll take a small little stick like this, hit it with a flame, you're done. You can't put this stuff out now, just about. It will take off, burn, and light your fire. And in just a few minutes, this whole piece is up in flames. Then it'll start sweating those turpentines and resins out and just catch on fire more and more and more. Now here's another thing, for people that are into survival and all, this is an excellent wood to use. But if you take some of the shavings, this stuff is also an excellent fire starter. Look at that. And it will continue to burn until it's absolutely gone, sweating all those resins out. So as y'all can see, this is a very special wood that a lot of us down here in the South really hold dear and appreciate, because it started a lot of fires for us, and it's not as easy to get as it used to be because it really has to come out of very mature trees. You're probably wondering again, why did I save this? It wasn't for fire starting material. This stuff smells so good, and there is nothing any more manly than I can think of than candles. Candles, y'all. There's nothing more manly than candles. I kid you not. All right, so I have to admit, I love the smell of this so much, I'm willing to sacrifice my man card on this channel to make some candles. I have always dreamed and wondered if you could put these sawdust shavings of this smell that it's just, oh, I love it. It reminds me of fall so much, into a candle and actually get that smell to come out. I don't know, there's a lot of resin in there that catches on fire, as you've seen. It could wind up destroying a candle. I don't know. So I bought a cheap candle kit off of Amazon. We're about to make some candles up real quick, put them in some mason jars. I got some wood wicks, regular wicks, and I'm gonna sprinkle this throughout the wax, mix it up, and pour it into mason jars for big candles. And I'm praying that I can get that smell out, because if I can, I'm not a big candle fan, trust me. I'm a manly man. But if I can get that smell into my house somewhere or out here in the shop, I'll burn a candle. I love that smell. Y'all didn't know y'all were getting an arts and crafts episode, did you? So I see there is 0 instructions with my candle making kit. So we're just gonna figure it out. I've got my wife's best stock pot over here. We're gonna melt the wax down in. Just kidding about that. It's an old stock pot. So I'm gonna put a little bit of wax in there that I think will fill up a couple mason jars. We'll try one with a normal wax wick, one with a wood wick. Sprinkle this stuff throughout, mix it up, pour it in, let it set up. Man, I hope this works. Little crafts that maybe we could sell down the road too. Man crafts. All right, so now I'm gonna take some of these shavings and sprinkle it throughout, get it all mixed in good, and we're ready to pour these kindles. So we're actually gonna have us a fire tonight. I figure I'll go ahead and show y'all how well this stuff right here works. I'll just take a couple little splinters, put it right down here. Go ahead and stack my wood around all this. All right, so we'll go ahead and light these 2 little pieces. Get them going if the wind don't blow everything out for me. Okay, we'll give that a couple minutes to sweat out all that resin, get started, and we'll get us a fire going while I'm waiting on these candles to harden up. All right, so we're gonna test this out in here. I let these cool down overnight. It is pouring rain outside in the 40s, disgusting weather, miserable. So they actually turned out quite well. I sprinkled a little bit on top to kind of give it that smell once you get started. So we're gonna light one. I got another one here with a wood wick. You can take the top off and check it out. Can't believe we're talking about candles here. I just want to get that awesome wood smell in a room. Now I'm concerned this may just go up in flames as all the resins come sweating out of the wood chips. It may crackle, pop, whole thing may catch on fire. I really don't know, but we're about to find out. May have my wick way too long. All right, so I've had this burning about an hour, and it works, kind of. So what I mean by works kind of is I had to go outside and get some more shavings and put into the top to actually get that smell that I'm looking for. Now, it's not potent, strong, or overbearing, but I've noticed the last time I just come into this room, I can smell that lighter smell now. That's the smell I'm looking for. So all I have to do moving forward on my future candles is put a little more up top so the resins immediately start, and I'll probably just impregnate more of the sawdust into the candle itself. This is a learning curve. Now the cool thing is, been burning an hour, excuse me, a tremendous amount of resins around the flame. It's still burning. Nothing has flamed up. Nothing's went wild or crazy like I was afraid was going to happen. So you can see what I've done. I just put a lot more resins around the top, or sawdust, that has kind of melted down into that wax. Now that smell is really starting to come out. So whenever I set these candles up brand new, I'll just take a lot of this wood chips and sawdust, start around the top so it pulls it in, and as this candle continues to burn down and the wax burns away, it'll pull more and more of that impregnated sawdust right toward it. So yeah, it's starting to work. I think a couple minor modifications and I've got myself some man candles. Now do me a favor and don't tell my wife I was playing with candles, please. Do me another favor, be easy on me on the comments. I'm showing y'all my artistic side right here. Y'all should appreciate that. So all jokes aside, I am super thrilled to get all that heart of pine straight post. You just don't see that much anymore. I've got kindling for life right now. As you've seen, it starts in a fire. It starts fire amazingly well. Some of the stuff on the side, I love this smell. I absolutely love the smell. I'm actually going to make me some more candles. I'm not a big fan of candles. Tiffany typically can't burn them because they mess with my sinuses really bad. Thus far, this is a smell that's not bothering me at all. I really enjoy it. So I was playing around more than anything in this video, but you never know. I might be on to something. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hopefully enjoyed it. As soon as all this nasty weather and rain gets by, it's already crazy cold out there, at least for us. Raining and in the 40s feels miserable. We're going to get back to a lot more firewood. I have more on the horizon that I've got to go pick up, split, cut, so we got a lot more of those episodes coming.